Hey guys, and welcome back. Allow me to go live also on Instagram quickly. Go live, perfect. All right, aligning a bit windows on my end. Initially, just quick feedback until I'm officially I'm putting my mindset into start mode. Initially, I wanted to have our daughter here because she was sleeping very, very cute. Today, it's going to be 3 weeks old, which is an amazing age. We're fighting currently colics, which you can hear in the background probably. If I have a good sound editing system, probably not, but that is what is going on, just letting you know. All right, until everything is set up on my end, allow me just quickly to do so. Instagram, are we live? Yes, okay, cool. Okay, I'm not even sure if it's properly aligned, the video. I believe it is. Okay, Cat also wants to come inside. Today is one of those days when, everything is just like happening and you're coping with stuff. Thankfully, everyone is healthy, happy, and wise, which what else do we want and need, okay? So, hi everyone and welcome. My name is Noemi. I'm the founder of ScaleWave. Today we're going to have one more of our Amazon PPC AMA sessions. Last time I was asked what AMA stands for. Ask me anything that it's what it stands for, and basically what we are aiming to do with these sessions. I'm going to have these sessions on a weekly basis and answer especially the beginner questions when it comes down to Amazon ads. Why? 5 years ago when 5 years ago when I started learning about Amazon and how Amazon works and so on, I had all these beginner questions and there was not many people who could answer me, or whoever answered me, they answered at very high level way, and I was like, okay, what does that mean, and like how do I think the correct way, and like I was very lost when it comes down to that topic. So that's why we have today's AMA session. Basically, we are going to prioritize the beginner questions, and then once the beginner questions were answered, then we're going to go into more depth into strategy, maybe even systems, business related, hiring, firing. So you can ask all those questions, also throw them my way. And before we're officially going to start, allow me to also go through one of the topics that I chose for today's topic of today, is how do I systemize my business? And I'm answering this question before, once that everyone is here and the questions are coming in and we're going to start officially. So before that, I would like to answer how do I systemize my business, and then also one more thing, because I was just talking to someone and they were like, okay, you're talking all about SOPs and systems, but like something clear, something well defined, like how do you do that? And I was just showing them, look, this is my Amazon AMA sessions on Tuesday. I literally have a checklist that I'm going to go through and making sure that everything what stands on the checklist, I'm going to go through each steps. Why? Because I don't have to remember those things. Literally, the checklist, it's helping me execute at perfections all times, especially when, I'm like distracted. Like, for example, today, as I was saying, I was super distracted where many things are happening, and like, okay, how do I still stay top of my game? That's how I stay top of my game. I have checklists, I have systems, I have processes. Now, why it's good to have this is because it's going to remind you on, okay, what are the next steps that should be done? Let me see if I can actually show you this. I'm going to show you my screen. Allow me just a sec, screen share, and then the window. And then tab. Okay, tab. And then I'm going to share. So I'm adding this to the stage. Let me see if this works. Okay, cool. So this is basically what it looks like today's AMA session, right? So before recording, what am I doing? I'm going to make sure at least 20 backup questions are ready. Why? Because simply sometimes there are lots of questions coming in, other times no questions are coming in, and in the meantime, I don't want to just stay here, right? So I do have also backup questions, things that have been submitted a while, or things that were asked by maybe my teammates or so on. So those would be considered the backup questions. Topic of the week selected. Today's topic of the week is what I'm just sharing right now, is the how do I systemize even the AMA process, right? And then finish grooming, water and protein bar and on the tablet latest by 12:45. Here it is my water. I didn't need it today, protein bar, because I just had a breakfast/lunch a few minutes back. But yes, even these things are important to have them in place, because if they're in place, then I know that I don't have to think of them anymore, right? Then tech setup, make sure that mic works. So I'm going to always check in. I'm going to always make sure that the USB is plugged in into my computer, and then the light set up correctly. So I do have two lights that are coming from the two sides. So I have a pink light, I have a blue light, and I have a big boom light, or how it's called, in front of me. So I'm making sure that all those are set up correctly. The camera is angled correctly, even if the camera if the camera is angled like that, it's not correctly, right? So making sure that I am using the rule of thirds, making sure that I'm in the middle, because this one is streamed also in a vertical and horizontal format. So things like this, it's really important to have them set up right in place. Why? Because if these are not set up right in place, then I'm going to forget them. And this is why I wanted to share with you that even I would have these. And if you would want to have systems in process, make sure that you have even a checklist like this one, freaking super easy on the what to do next, right? Because if you do have that, then it's going to take out all the thinking process. Now, why we have systems in place is because we want to make sure that we have set up once the correct setup, and then we're following it ourselves as well. Let me know if this makes sense and if this helped you, simply because I know that sometimes it can be so daunting, the fact of how do you systemize things, simply by always you're doing the same thing, and then you're not even going to put any more thought process in it. You make sure that you have a system in place and you're going to follow your system. All right. While questions are coming in, also some of the questions that I did not manage to answer last time, I'm going to go through them. The scope of the session is to tackle Amazon PPC topics. It's going to last for 1 full hour. And then during this process, I'm just going to go through all the questions, okay? Let me answer the very first question. Where do I go? So the first question is, where do I go to check the performance of my Amazon PPC campaigns? Well, you would go in your ad console, in your Seller Central account, and you would click the ad console. Then the ad console it has its different platform. That is where you would check all that. And then if you would want to check something specific, so there are reports that it comes down to business reports, that is in Seller Central, for example. If you're looking for the search terms, the keywords that were, or the search terms that triggered specific sales, specific orders, then you would go and download your search report. Let me know if you have one specific metric that you're looking for. Happy to answer. Next question is there an ideal time of the day to run PPC campaigns for my baby products in the US market? Good question. So let's tackle first day parting, because that's what you're asking. So it can be helpful for you to check out when the products are selling well. I would assume this would be during weekends. Simple reason why I'm saying that is because we just recently got our baby, and I know that on weekends I am shopping constantly. Actually, nowadays I'm shopping every day almost on Amazon, but on weekends especially, that's when I am okay, double checking also with my husband, whatever it's a larger purpose, larger product, or it's more expensive, I would check also with him, making sure that we are aligned, and then purchasing the item. And that is usually happening on Saturdays. Now, if you have the chance to go into your campaigns and see this data, would be helpful for you. But what is really important when it comes down to day parting, because I just want to make sure that we are aligned when it comes down to this. Most of the time, whenever someone is talking about day parting, they should be already running lots, like a larger budget. And why I'm saying that is what I noticed so far is day parting is going to be helpful only to optimize your spend, but it's not necessarily going to be helpful to increase your sales. So if you already know that you're selling baby products in the US market, you would know approximately, like, look at the pattern. When do most of the sales come in? Usually weekends. That is when we are seeing on our end, even for pet products and also for baby products. That is when usually people have more time, and they would purchase. You would confirm that's for yourself. And then second, it really depends if you're running a larger budget for your ads. If not, $2,000, $3,000, honestly, it's just going to overcomplicate things. I would highly recommend to invest your time in something else, like optimizing other things in your account rather than finding when it's the ideal day or time to run your ads if you're spending less than $10,000, honestly. Let me know if that answers the question. Okay, we are out of focus. Okay, we're back in focus. Why does my PPC data seem to reset or change after 24 hours? So this is happening because, like in any ad platform account, we are starting at the beginning of the day, and here the ad console is on California time, so it's going to start roughly around 3 a.m. It's going to reset everything. The reason for that is that we want to track for every day how much you spent, how much you made, and how much it costed you to make those sales. That's the reason why. Okay, next question. How do I create a video ad for Amazon PPC campaigns? Well, nowadays with AI, it's so easy to create video ads. And if your question is how do you create a video ad, I think I would just step back and zoom out for clarity and understand really who is my audience and what emotion do I want to create with my video ad. The reason why I'm saying that is because video ads is not anymore something new. 5 years ago, it was when we started on Amazon, and the sponsor brands option, product from Amazon came out, and then we used that sponsor brands product, and that allowed us to create videos. Now, back then it was just like, okay, if you had a video already, you stood out of competition and everyone was like clicking on it, and plus it's a dynamic ad. But what I'm seeing now, especially in 2026, what is really important when it comes down to creating a video ad, it's going to be, are you talking to your ideal customer? And if so, someone just asked me a few moments ago for baby products. So what are the emotions that someone who's in the stage of buying a baby product has, and you can persuade them in order to sell your product? So that is going to be top of mind before even creating a video, because it's one thing that your product has all these amazing gadgets and it works like amazingly, and compared to your competitors you're way better. But if you cannot resonate on an emotional level with someone, it's going to be really hard to sell it. Example, we just bought this baby Brisa, and it's an instant, it looks like an espresso machine, honestly, that it makes formula for babies. And honestly, I was just a bit skeptic because it's around $200, and that is definitely on the higher end when it comes down to should we invest something into like that expensive. But if we're thinking, yeah, it's going to last us at least 1 year, 1.5 years until the baby is going to have formula, then we're thinking, yeah, this investment actually is cheap compared to the how long it's going to last. Now, with that in mind, why am I talking to you about this product is because what I noticed on their end, especially because their product is on the most expensive end compared to all the baby products that I saw that fulfilled the same problem of, hey, instant formula maker for baby. What I noticed is that they sold me on the why is it useful, their product, how quickly can I create this formula, literally within 2-3 seconds the formula is created, right? So total maybe 5 seconds until I'm taking the bottle, placing it underneath the cup holder, and then underneath, where the formula comes in and the instant formula comes in. And then what I noticed is that they sold me on that. So if I am buying back my time, because making formula manually, it took at least 5 minutes. In the meantime, the baby was fussy, I was stressed, my husband was stressed, so everyone was like, okay, food now, food. We want food now. Versus now, it literally takes me 5 minutes, 5 seconds or less to create that same outcome. What I bought, it's time. And now you are thinking, yes, you asked me about creating a video ad. What I saw on their end is that they had a lot of video content, both from the brand and both from the influencer side, that showed me exactly that I bought back time. And then I was thinking, all right, even if this is a more expensive product, I'm going to give it a shot. Worst case scenario, in case I really dislike it, I might be sending it back. But this is something that can buy me back time. Hence, I bought the product and I cannot be more happier. So when it comes down to your video ad, make sure that you're tapping into what is the emotion that your product sells, that if you're going to implement it without your video ad, it's actually going to convert better and it's going to bring you more revenue in. Let me know if that helped. Next question, what makes a brand agency relationship a bad fit from day one? That's an interesting question. Let me think of it so I can give more insight, because I believe there might be many of the things that are not important that you should not think of, and then many people are saying that they are red flags. I think the first thing you should be looking into is alignment between whatever your goals are versus whatever your agency's goals are, and if they already deliver similar results. Because what is going to happen is that if you have the goal, for example, we were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago on a call with a potential brand that we were managing we were about to manage their ads. And what the lady told me, the brand owner told me, was that, hey, I'm looking into partnering up with an agency. What are your achievements so far when it comes down to how quickly could you grow revenue for one of the brands? And I'm like, hey, I can grow revenue really up to 20 to 40%. We've already done it. I just want to make sure that that is something that aligns with you as well. And she was saying, yeah, that is something that I'm looking for. And then I said, great. Also, I want to be upfront. Usually, we are not guaranteeing right away that growth, because we know also that, especially in the first month, is just like in any relationships, we are going to learn each other. What is their style of communication, our style of communication, their patience, our patience, their limits, our limits. And then are they asking constantly for out of scope work? Can we deliver that in a sense that it's not going to be feeling that, hey, I'm going to just answer all these questions that are not ad related, but I also have to manage the account, right? So within the first month, that's going to be really important for you to understand. But getting back to what I saw that it's going to be a bad fit from day one is alignment. And how quickly can you deliver on their alignment? Because if you're saying that you can deliver on the alignment and you're not delivering, then it's going to be, okay, so you told me this and then you guaranteed and so on. So this is why at this point, we're not even guaranteeing anything, any outcome. We're letting them know, look, this is what we're seeing. This is something that on our end can happen and we can deliver. Now you on your end, just be aware of the fact that we are operating on Amazon. At any point in time, a listing can be taken down. At any point in time, there can be any suspicions. At any point in time, Amazon might change policies. And those are external factors that do not depend on us. So if any of those things are happening, just still seeing eye to eye that those are things that can happen in that circumstance. If we said that we're going to achieve this 10%, 20%, 40%, even increase, in revenue, and it's realistic because they have inventory, they have the budget, so everything is aligned. Even in that scenario, things outside of our control can happen, and we have to be okay with that. We have to align on that. I think that is the one thing that alignment is you should be aware of, and could and should be anyone aware of, because that is something that is going to make a brand agency relationship bad fit from day one. Okay. Next question is, how much growth can PPC drive by itself versus other factors? Great question. And why I'm saying it's a great question is because most of the time, everyone who's talking about advertising, they are thinking about just because you advertise, you're also making money. The way how I like to put it is that advertising simply is just a channel of driving traffic to a product. Once that you drove traffic to a product, then it depends on the listing, how well optimized it is. And by well optimized is, does that product looks good? Does it tells you all the benefits of why you would be purchasing the product? Does it connects with you emotionally? If it's an emotionally driven product, just like the example I gave a few minutes back when I said that we just purchased one of the more expensive and instant baby formula maker gadget, and it's like the best investment that we made, and even if it was expensive, but just because emotionally we connected, like right away I knew that this product is actually going to save me time. I was like, yeah, let's go for it. So I think all those things are going to be really, really important when it comes down to understanding that Amazon ads are just the traffic, and then the listing itself, it's going to make the sale for itself. So that is going to be, I believe, the next level. Once that you're already driving traffic to your listing, how fast can you make the sale by that click that you generated? Okay, so one more question regards service providers and agencies and so on. So the question is, what are the biggest mistakes brands make when choosing a service provider? Biggest questions when choosing a service provider. I think right now, the way I'm seeing it, because also me on my end, I am still choosing service providers, and I'm seeing that I sometimes make the same mistake like brands make, which is understanding that if I'm not asking too many questions versus I'm asking no questions at all. So it's kind of like in between that. I think the right questions is going to be just, okay, have you done this before? What were the results? Okay, now you're seeing whatever I am selling. What do you see? What are the things that I should be thinking of? Hey, those are going to be obstacles or maybe challenging for me to achieve. I think right now, most of the time, you would make a choice based either fear or greed. And this is from the realms of trading, right? So either you're thinking that, hey, this is going to be excellent and like they are going to sell you on the services and why they are amazing. Either it's going to be by fear, from fear, because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to lose this opportunity. And maybe if you've been also offered a coupon or like a percentage off or so on, you're going to think that just because of that, you should be taking the opportunity. Interestingly enough, because this is also a good question for me, because as I was saying, even on my end, I'm still using service providers, I'm still hiring people. So what I'm seeing on my end is that for them, it's really important to know about me and know about what am I doing right now and how am I doing it, and give attention to, okay, where am I right now? Because based on that, I think that is one of the things that most brands make as mistakes, that they are not going to even look at, hey, does this person actually understands me, or whatever they are selling me on, I'm going to be bought on. And that is something that right now I wish we would have known for some time, but because it's obvious, but yeah, if I'm looking back, the brands, the service providers, the employees that we hired, they showed interest in whatever we had already. And here, the clearest example for you could be, hey, did they actually went through your listing? Did they show you what are the current bottlenecks, or they showed you why they are the best thing since sliced bread? I think that's really important. All right, next question is, how do I know what bid level makes sense for my PPC keywords? When we're talking about bids, really important. Sometimes, like, bids are something that you cannot really negotiate. You can reduce bids, but then by reducing bids, you're losing impressions, aka you're losing the traffic and eyeballs to your listings. So when it comes down to knowing what are the bid levels that would make sense for your PPC keywords, is each keyword itself, it's going to perform differently. Now, for a keyword that is converting at 10%, probably it would make sense for you to not invest a $5 bid or a $5 CPC on it if it's only 10% conversion. If that same keyword is bringing you sales, maybe the same amount, maybe more, but a 20% conversion, that is something that you might be willing to increase your bids even, because you want to make sure that you are always going to generate sales with that specific keyword. Bids are kind of tricky, and there's like the question, I understand where it's coming from, but it's harder to answer just because you're saying that what bid levels make sense. Honestly, the bid level that would make sense for your account, and here I'm talking about CPC, not necessarily bid, how much you're offering, but how much it costs you to get that click, is if you want to get eyeballs, you have to pay for it. So if you're going to decrease your bids and you're not going to get any eyeballs, and then you're not going to generate traffic towards your listing, probably that is when you should be stopping optimizing down the bids. How to use negative targeting in Amazon PPC. So when it comes down to negative targeting, it's really important to note that there are two main ways to negate. Either you negate in exact match, which means that the exact keyword or the exact ASIN you're going to add as negative exact. Either you're going to do a negative phrase match, which basically means that if you have the keyword cat furniture, cat furniture protector, for example, and then everything, let's say that this is showing in the search terms that people are typing dog furniture protector. I mean, I'm not sure why they would. Probably there's someone looking for that product, but if you know for sure that your product is not for dogs, that is dog. It is one word that you could add as a negative phrase match, meaning any keyword that would be, or any search term in this case, would be coming up with those specific word dog in it is not going to be shown anymore. Now that would be the way how you would use negatives, and really important if you want to have this systemized, what you would do on a weekly basis is downloading your search term reports and look up which are the words, either the full words, either just part of the words that that did not generate any sales, and those are the ones that you would be negating. Next question is, how do you decide which targeting strategy to use in Amazon PPC? Now, when it comes down to targeting, there are several ways of targeting. Some of our strategies here at ScaleWave is we have these 5 strategies called Protect, Conquer, Rank, Dominate, and then Discover. And by these 5 strategies, what we're doing, we are strategically creating campaigns for one purpose. So here, for example, for the Protect, we would be creating campaigns to protect our own listing and our own branded keywords. Conquer, we would create those campaigns to generate sales from our competitors' listings, especially the listings that are not well optimized, or especially the listings that have poorer reviews than us, or less amount of reviews and rankings. And the rank is going to be your typical exact match campaigns, where everyone's talking about ranking campaigns, right? So these are the campaigns that you would add the exact keyword match, and then that is the one that would generate sales. dominate, it is more on the placement modification side. So if you see that you have one specific placement that it's working really well for you, then you would increase the placement for that one. And then a fifth one is going to be discover. Here, everything that is not exact match. So it can be manual broad, manual phrase. It can be auto targeting. It can be category targeting. Everything that is not exact. Again, those are the ones that will be going there. Let me know if that answered the question. And how would you decide on which targeting strategy to use? It's simply just step back and look through, okay, what did I wanted to achieve with my campaign? And then based on that, you would deploy any of these strategies, or start with one or start with all 5 of them, depending on your budget. Energy is just a bit low. I'm missing some iron. Drinking some water, I'm back. All right. Next question is, why am I getting a bunch of clicks but no sales in my Amazon PPC campaigns? The reason you would be getting clicks but no sales is you simply created a non-exact match campaign, and that is a broad phrase match category auto targeting that it's just pulling lots of search terms. So that can be the reason why it's generating a lot of clicks but no sales. Those type of campaigns are going to generate way higher amount of clicks than the exact match campaigns already. The second thing, wait, my camera, it's like focusing and defocusing. The second thing that could be causing lots of clicks and no sales, simply you're not targeting the correct audience, or your keyword is way too broad. So these are the very first things that I would be thinking or would come top of mind. Let me know if that answered. Okay, officially I just yawned on the camera. It's good. Next question is, how can PPC be used to support my A/B testings for my listings? Great question. So the way how we are going to use PPC is simply by making sure that we're not going to touch too much when it comes down to optimizing, over-optimizing, creating more ads, like doing too many things at once. Because if we're going to do that, it's going to be very hard for us to realize what actually moved the needle. So the way how, when we are testing, A/B testing, especially listings, we are not going to create additional campaigns. We're not going to add additional budget. We're not going to do these drastic optimization. Either optimize in a sense of allocating more budget to the things that work, either optimize on cutting down on the things that do not work, right? Because we're going to do that and then we're going to get false positives. So whenever we're testing something, we would just maintain the same performance for the ads. So it's going to be easier for us to track. All right, so we spent $5,000, we made $10,000. All right, great. Now, once that we run both tests and it was the same spend and it was same amount of revenue, then we know, okay, so the ads were not the factor that generated this. And why am I saying this is because, most of the time what is happening with us is like we are so eager to try out new things, and then we're trying out new things, and then we're making so many changes, and then all the changes that we made are not going to help us get the actual result that we wanted. So in this case, especially when it comes down to supporting A/B testing efforts for your listings, make sure that on the ad side, we did not create too much of a discrepancy between the first state and the second state whenever we tested two different things. Okay, so next question. Next question is again beginner, and I love it because these are great questions to ask, not only for beginners but also for everyone when it comes down to Amazon ads. The question is, how would you know when a keyword should be moved to another campaign? And what's the right way to do it? So that's the question. And then My answer to that is you would know once that it generated something super specific. And let me just share some of the strategies that we run here at ScaleWave. So we don't have only the, hey, this is the way how we're seeing search terms is, did it generate something and what was the result? So did it generate sales? Great. And this means that this search term, it has a potential to be a good candidate for a campaign, or the search term has a potential to be a good candidate in a negative keyword list. And why is that important? Is because technically you're not moving it into another campaign, but sometimes you might be even negating the keyword if it's not bringing you the outcome that you desire. Now, in this case, let's assume that the search term itself is bringing you the results that you're looking for. We are not moving it into another campaign. We are not pausing it. We are just going to keep it at the same bid level, same optimal bid level, bringing us the same sales. And then what we can do, we can create a new ad campaign with that specific keyword in this case, and then see how it's going to perform in its own campaign when you allocate its own budget. Why? It's because it's the same concept when most people are asking, okay, so in an auto campaign, one specific search term, it generates a lot of sales. Should I pause it? And my answer, no, do not pause it there, even if you're going to create a new campaign with separate dedicated budget. So the same strategy applies also here. When you know that a keyword is performing in a certain way, then you would either create its own campaign, either you would add it to your negative list. In case that it's performing really well, what you would do, you just create its own campaign, allocate its dedicated budget, and then see how can you replicate the same success from the previous campaign. Usually that's not always the case, so just letting you know that. I know that most people are preaching that, oh yes, move them into their own campaigns. You sometimes cannot replicate the same success, just letting you know. But that is really important that you asked. Guys, I feel very low on energy today. Sorry about that. So I'm going to answer 2 more questions and we're going to wrap it shortly. Feel free to post your questions. We are running these on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. So in case that you're not seeing questions in the channel, there are the other channels where things are being streamed. Next question is, what are the most effective ways to bring ACoS down without slowing sales? It's really important for us to understand what ACoS is and why is it important to not over-optimize things. So ACoS is advertising cost of sales, and this is just your metric to show that you are getting a particular outcome of your ad efforts, right? So ACoS can be brought down just by optimizing your bids lower and lower and lower. What can happen sometimes is that just because you're optimizing your bids, you're assuming that you're going to be shown at the same placement, which is not the case. And then 2, you're also assuming that because you lowered your bids, Amazon should still give you the same, same amount of sales, which is not going to happen. So this is the way how we are optimizing usually when it comes down to managing accounts. Really important is that once that we optimize an account, let's say the ACoS is 100%, we're optimizing the account, we're bringing down, lower the bid. In this case, because we want to make sure that the ACoS is brought down at the point where we are profitable on our ads. So we are going to optimize downward, we're going to reduce the bids. In that case, what we're seeing is that if we are still showing up on the placement where we previously showed up for, and we are still having the same amount of sales, then good to go, right? But if we're noticing that the ACoS is 100%, we want to bring down the ACoS, but the moment that we're reducing the bid, we're also reducing impressions. What is happening is that technically you did not allow those keywords to stick, but you wanted to optimize right away very, very quickly. And hear me out. This sounds very not intuitive. However, what we noticed, especially for the past 2 months, is that some accounts, even if you want to bring down the ACoS, sometimes it's not going to work just by bid reduction, because what's going to happen is that those keywords themselves, they're just so expensive for the product. So what we've been testing is we either increase the product pricing, so technically we created more margins for ourselves. Either we just, where we could, improve the images on the listing, and there the conversion was higher, so technically our ACOS was dropped down. And keep in mind here, we did not optimize the bids, right? We optimized the listing itself, either the price, either the pictures. Either, in some cases, what we tried is FBM versus FBA. Now FBA fulfilled by Amazon is going to be preferred, the preferred choice, and FBM fulfilled by a merchant, it's not. Depending on if in the category everyone is selling FBM, but usually it's not. I mean, I'm shopping on Amazon, I am not buying FBM usually. But that is also a trigger how you could reduce your ACOS without slowing down sales. So I would highly encourage you, think outside of Amazon ads, because if we're going to just optimize, there's no guarantee for us that we're going to get the outcome that we want to just because we want to, because what you're trying to say or trying to do in this case is forcing Amazon's bidding algorithm to still show your listing even if you're offering less, when they're not set up that way. So that's why I'm saying that first off, think of what is external to ads rather than only ads. And then if you see that you cannot achieve the results that you're looking for, then we would look into a different set of keywords or a different strategy. Let me know if that helped. Next question is, what does self-targeting mean in Amazon PPC? So self-targeting basically is the very first of the strategies that I was talking about, which is the protect strategy, which basically means that you, on your own product listing page, you're going to showcase the products from your brand, or products that would be working really well, again, from your brand, on the main page, you know. So that is how you would go about it. The last question I'm answering is, when should you pause an Amazon PPC campaign without hurting performance later? We've received this question quite a lot of time. Let me see if we changed anything on that, but I don't think so. So when we are pausing something, is either we're onboarding an account, someone already ran ads on the account, and we're seeing that, all right, they had their own strategy that is not paying off anymore, it's not bringing sales, we would just pause right away those things, especially if they're not bringing sales. The second thing when we would pause an Amazon PPC campaigns is if it's not part anymore of the strategy, but this is supposed to be the strategy that we created for an account. Example, there was this brand, and most of their sales that we managed for a while, and most of their sales were coming from brand recognition, so branded keywords. But what we've done afterwards is like, okay, it's great that people already know us, they are going on Amazon, they're purchasing our product, they're finding our product first off, and then they're purchasing our product. But how about if we want to gain additional market share, what we would do about that? So what we did is we piled up 5 of their most relevant keywords for the product that described the product, that was longer tail, that was not super broad, you know. And then we ran advertising for those, and we ran exact match campaigns for those. And what we noticed is that even if we have, whenever someone is looking for our product, they are purchasing our product, we do not have any more competitive advantage on whenever someone is looking for our product but not for our brand, if they would consider us or not, because our product was way more expensive, and honestly, competitors had better images and so on, right? So that would be also a way, or when we would pause the campaigns, when we're seeing that they are not performing anymore within the structure of the campaign or the strategy that we had. In this case, what we did is we wanted to run a quick test to see, are we any more relevant for those specific keywords that are describing our product that brought us sales 3 years ago? And the point that we were trying to make is that, look, right now I'm advertising, I'm spending $2,000-$3,000 on these specific keywords. They're highly descriptive of my product. People are looking for them to buy my competitor's product. They're not going to buy anymore my product. We need to change, we need to improve, we have to make sure that our listings are competitive enough with whatever it's already on Amazon. So in that scenario also, once that you're running one of these campaigns, you would say, look, I have my data, it proved me that these are the next steps. You can pause the campaign, so you don't have to keep it on the campaign. Those would be some of the ways how we would think about when should you pause a campaign without hurting performance later. All right. So thanks so much everyone for watching. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate all the questions that have been submitted. Sorry about cutting it short today. I really hope that I can pull off the full hour. Seemingly it did not happen. However, thank you and appreciate you. Really hope that this gave you a better idea of how we are running things here at Amazon, that are Amazon PPC related here at ScaleWave. And really hope that also the question for the main topic, how do I systemize my business, help you. If you're still interested and if you have not chimed in from the beginning, make sure to do so, especially with the systematization part. I think that is something that I missed at the beginning when we started our business, and then I did not know what am I doing, and then I was like over perfecting things. So right now, just a simple checklist of going through everything, and then they don't have to live anymore in my brain, are going to be super helpful. All right, much love. Thank you so much for watching so far. This was Noemi from ScaleWave. Thank you, appreciate you. And if you found value in this video, and if you found value in this content, make sure to also chime in next week when I will be back. Make sure to also submit your questions in case that you cannot come in. Even today, I just read like at least five questions from people who submitted them last week, and they are not here, but they are going to be watching the video. So that's why I'm saying, even if you're not going to be able to make it, make sure you're submitting a question, because the same way how it's going to help you, it's going to help someone else who's just dealing with the exact same thing. Thanks, and be good. If you want us to run a quick audit on whatever your ad efforts are right now, feel free to book a call with me. Take care, be good, see you next week. Ciao.